Daryl here. The channel is Programming in Any Language. The supporting website is www.black-duck.com. The video is Format Phone Number Module. We did quite a bit of work to format the phone number. Typically, this is a minor function of a larger program. Down the road, you'll see that we would probably make this routine a class that can be called by many different programs. And while we won't make it a class right now, we'll make it a module that might simulate a class. In other words, we will use what we have already done as a prototype to creating a method that will do what we want it to do without displaying everything to the user. In other words, give me a phone number in any format and I'll return you a formatted phone number. This will be a black box. Something's going to go on inside, but the user doesn't care. The user just wants results. And here's that module. If you follow the creation of the Format Phone Numbers application we're working on to kind of demonstrate the insert, the concatenation, and the pulling of characters out of a string, you got an idea of just how it works, all the intricacies that might go on with it. Typically, though, you don't want to create a massive application that's showing all these different things happening. The user doesn't care. The user wants to see a solid module that's inside there and it's transparent to them and they don't see what's happening. On the screen, what I've got is I've got that Format Phone Numbers application, as you can see right here with the read file, process, save file, and exit. And what I want to do is I want to take that thing and I'm going to make a small module program out of it. So let's go ahead and pull this thing off the side. What I've done, I'm creating a brand new program right here. So we've got our thing here, and I want to view my toolbox. I'm going to use my toolbox briefly, not extensive, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a button on the screen here. And the button is going to represent a process button. So I'm going to call this thing process. I'm going to change the font size on it to a 10, make it bold, and make the button a little bigger to actually handle that process button. That's all it's going to be. Up on the top here in the form, it's actually I want to also give it a name and code. Button process. And up on the form itself, I want to call this phone number format module. And that's about it. That's all I really want to do. I don't want to have any of the read stuff in, the process stuff or anything. So I'm actually going to make this kind of small because what we're going to be simulating here, let's make this real small, something like that. And take my process button and I'm going to center it on the form horizontally and vertically. And that's the extent. That's all I really want to do with this particular application, period. So what I want to do next, what I want to do is I want to actually make this thing do all the things that the format phone number process did. But I wanted to do it in such a way that I can use this as a module in any application. So if I wanted to build this thing, I would we'll say I'm building a database that's going to read a bunch of files from a customer, his name, address, city, state, zip, and whatever else they might have, their phone numbers, maybe a second phone number, maybe a cell phone, whatever. And it's going to grab all that data. I want that data to be consistent. So I'm grabbing this from different files or whatever. I want to bring in the phone number and then call this routine to format the phone number for me before I start placing this in a database. So I want to end up with the name, address, city, state, zip. And we're going to look at how to format those things when we look at the trim command in text processing. But if we're going to put the name, address, city, state, zip, we want to put the phone numbers up there in a formatted form any way we want. We'll use the format we use, the parentheses, the dash in there, all that kind of stuff. We want a module that's going to do it. It's going to accept anyway, no matter how the user entered the phone number, we're going to format that so it comes out with the parentheses, area code in there, exchange, dash, and then the number, and it'll be there. So this will be simulating that because this will be a process button. And I'm going to cheat a little bit, but it's really a technique that I often will use. Sometimes you build prototypes. And this could be considered the prototype of the phone number format routine. We now know it's working. All the nice modules in here are working. We can use a lot of that code over again. So I'm going to use that and create my new module that I know works. So we should have no problems with this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the process button. And what I want the process button to do, well, we want to just call some modules. I want to read the file, Let's get rid of our toolbox. We don't need that anymore. Read file in. I want to filter digits. Yeah, it's not liking this, is it? Filter digits. Yeah, it came out okay that time. Sometimes IntelliSense likes to help. Call filter digits routine. I want to call the format output. And I want to call the save file routine. Let's just say save file. Okay, so that's all I really need my program to do. It needs to do nothing else. I'm not even going to put an exit button on this thing because I just want to simulate that process. Now, how do we do this? Well, we do this by working on the modules first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the read file routine first. So if we go right down here, I'm going to say private. Spell right, private void read file, and set up my braces. And there they are. What am I use for code? If I go to my other program, which I have sitting over here, I can jump to the code on this. Actually, let's jump right here, going to this thing. And I can grab this code, this read file code that I've got right here. And that's exactly what I want. I want everything that's inside here. I'm going to do a Control-C, move this back to my other screen so I don't need it anymore, and pop it right into here. And we'll get some errors, but that's fine. I'm going to leave a string str record in here. I'm going to call this thing this record. That's fine. We're going to have a try. We're going to have the stream reader for the input file. We're going to have that. And the input file then is going to be equal to, we don't need the dialog thing, so we're going to get rid of this line because we're not going to use the open dialog routine. We're going to say input file equals open file, open text rather, and I'm going to put quotes in here and give it the name. So we're just going to put in, and I'll call this thing input phones. This could be anything. And then, well, I'm going to say, while input file is not in the stream equals false, my stream list record is going to be input file read line. So I'm going to read it in, and then I'm going to put it into a list, not a list box. So we're going to go up to the top here, and we're going to create a list. So right under this, I'm going to say list, a string list, LST phone numbers, equals new list, string, and that's almost our list once we spell it right. That's our list. So list phone numbers will be a list we're going to use. We won't use the input list box, the intermediate list box, the output list box. We'll use the one list to do all the work we're going to actually do here. So we'll jump back down to our operation right here. We'll just change this now. We're going to go ahead and say we want the LST phone numbers dot add string list record. This is going to be add to input list. And we don't notice the difference between list box and list is you have the items thing. You don't have that inside the list itself. So we'll be able to blow this particular piece away, and it's gone. After that, we close the file, and we're done. Nothing. Oops, we don't. Another thing we don't need. We don't need an else here. We don't need this because we got rid of. We just have a try and a catch. We don't have. Yeah, we don't have the if dialog file, so we don't have that. So we don't have operation cancel. So actually, all this can go. Bang. So we're just down to basically a try to read the file and put it in the list box, and a catch if something goes wrong. There's no need to deal with because we're dictating the name of the file. That's all we need to do. That's going to create the read file routine. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to filter the digits. Filtering the digits should be the same, almost the same as we worked with before. So under here, I'm going to build the private void filter digits and put my braces in, and There's my filter digits routine. Oops, a filter. I do spell it right because we're going to be using it. That got rid of the error. And now what I want to do again, I want to go ahead back to my original program, which had the filter digits piece in here. And actually, we went into the read file with process, I think was where it was. And we looked at it, there's filter digits. We can look down a little further, and there's our filter digits routine. And we'll simply grab the data that's in here. We'll be modifying it, but we can use most of what's here. So we'll do a Control-C, and we'll go back to our other application. And inside here, we're going to put in that code, temp, all this kind of stuff. Now, is this really what we want to do? We want a string temp phone. That's true. We want a string filtered phone. We want that as well. And we want the int temp phone length. We want that. So we're going to be working with that. Then we're going to for our for loop that's going to go through the list, not the list box, but the list. So I'm going to make a little change here. I'm going to put in a for int I equals 0. I is less than phone numbers that count. And actually, we're going to change that to phone numbers that count is perfect. That's fine. And we'll leave the I plus. That gives us our loop through the list instead of the list box. So we can blow this line away as we replace that beginning of the loop there. So now we've got this, and we're going to look at the loop inside. We have some errors. String temp phone is going to be equal to the list. So I'm going to actually recreate this line by saying str temp phone is equal to the lst phone number I to string. That's going to pull record from list. We don't need this one. We'll blow this guy away. Now we're going to set up a string filtered phone, just like we did before. It's going to be the thing we're going to we're going to drop thing and only bring in, we're going to concatenate the digits only in here. So we're going to look at our temp phone length, which is perfectly fine. That's correct. And for our j equals 0 to j temp phone length, which we have here, play plus plus, character, etc. We're going to create the filtered phone. We're going to do this, and it's going to concatenate the thing. So we end up with str filtered phone containing our phone number with only digits in it. So this will give us our intermediate file, but we're not going to have an intermediate file. We're going to put right smack back in the list box. So in our list, rather, not list box. So down here, instead of having this line, which is going to add it to a filtered phone, we're going to say lst phone number dot remove at, and we're going to remove at I. So this is going to remove current record. Since we're sitting at 0 on the first one, it removes the first record. If we're sitting at 2, it removes the second record. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to replace it or insert lst phone number dot I, or phone numbers dot insert at I string filtered phone. It's exactly what we need here. And that insert digits only number. We don't need this one. We've eliminated the list box completely. So our filter digits routine is now done. We've accomplished that. That's all we need there. What's the next thing we're going to do? Formatting the output. So we'll take a look at the formatting the output piece here. We're going to go right up in here, and we're going to say private void format output. Yeah, we get it eventually. And it takes care of the formatted output body, and it gets rid of our error over here. So now we look at our format output routine that we've got in here. Can we use it? Can we use the data that's in here? Of course we can. We spent all that time putting this thing together. Now is a chance to be able to use it and use it in our new format, but we'll make some modifications to it. So I'm going to grab everything that's in the middle here. I'm going to doctor it up, but I want to copy everything I've got here. So I got a starting point. Did a copy, and I'm going to do a paste right here. And that place is in there now. What I want now, I'm going to change this to string formatted phone. string str format phone, we'll call it. And we'll go out here and say that this is work area for the phone. So that's it. We don't need the intermediate phone. We don't need the output. We don't need the air goods. We don't need the exchange. And I don't think we need the number. So we're going to basically blow all this away. What I do want to add, though, however, is I want to be able to create a count. So I want an account here. So I'm going to say int count, and this will be the number of records in the list. I want to know that's handy there. And then I'm going to actually grab that. So I'm going to say int count is equal to lst phone numbers dot count. Grab count. So now I've got that. Now I'll go down to this mess we have right here. We see have a lot of errors, but this is not a big deal. We're fine here. We're going to use the intermediate piece to make this thing all work. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say for I equals I, let's create a brand new for int I is equal to 0. I is less than int count, I plus plus. We don't need this. Yeah, we can. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll get rid of this, and then we'll just get rid of this, because we're going to loop through the list again. That puts our loop here. So now our loop is going to work. But now I get rid of some of this stuff. We're going to say using. Oops, I got that all wrong. Well, actually, it started out nicely. str format phone is equal to lst phone number I to string. We bring in the record that we're looking for. We pull the record from the list. We're going through the record on a second time for the formatting. Then we're going to say str format phone is equal to str format phone dot insert in position 6 r dash. Does that work? That's position 6 dash. Trying to be overly helpful again, the good old IntelliSense. That's going to put the dash in the number section in position 6 out there. Next thing we do is str format phone is equal to str format phone dot insert in position 3, comma, I'm going to put a quote, a backwards parentheses, a space, another quote, and that'll take care of the ending parentheses. And I'm going to ask str format phone equals str format phone dot insert, comma, in position 0, I'm going to put the beginning parentheses and end that with a semicolon, semicolon, and that's it. Now I don't need the rest of the stuff, and I don't need the concatenation. What do I need? What I need is to really get rid of all this and basically use the same thing I used down here. I want to remove the number at the current position, and I want to replace it. Control C and make a copy of that and lay this in. It's right in here. Oh, we got a misspelling here. Filtered phone. What do we spell here? Filtered. Yeah, that could have been embarrassing. Filtered. Filtered. God, it's misspelled everywhere. That correct us? Filtered. Almost. I think we're correct now. Filtered phone. Why is this thing wrong? Because this is going to be using the format phone. Now I better spell it all from scratch here. str format phone. That's what we actually created here. And that insert formatted record. And that should be fine. Why we got filter, digit, void filters? Why am I missing something here? I got private. I don't know why I have a problem. Because something's wrong up here. Let's see what we got. Format. Here it is. Here it is. I lost a. This is why you take your braces and you indent them one after the other. In Java, I know that some of the many times they show our books that show the starting brace, the ending brace after the column you actually need somewhere down here, and you just can't tell if you got all your stuff in line. So I like doing this. Now we're in good shape. Everything seems to be spelled right and correct. All we need to do is a save file routine. So let's go ahead and do that next. We'll go down here and we'll say private void save file. Put in our braces and pop that thing in there. How do we get the save file routine going? Hey, same way we did the other one. We look at our old program where we did all our initial stuff, jump over the save file routine, and grab this code, and do a complete copy of it, get it out of here, lay it in here, and remove the dialog. We don't need that. If we're removing that if statement, we can get rid of the message box and the else thing. We'll get rid of that piece and tie it up. And now we're looking at when the output file is going to be equal to create text. Oh, what should we call that? We'll call it output phones. Quote, output phone dot text. And for I equals 0, we'll do the for again. For int I equals 0. I is less than phone numbers count dot I plus plus. Get rid of this. And we have our braces sitting in here. Our output file right line is going to be list phone numbers I. So we can actually change, I might maybe just write it over again and say output file dot right line list phone numbers I. And that's all we need for that. And we can blow away this output file line. We're working with the list box then. Message box show file has been written. Output file is closed. We're done here. Okay, so we're all ready to test the program. I'm going to do a file save on it all. Before I go into that, though, I want to bring up my module and show you where I have it here. So we're going to bring up this. Let's shrink this down a little bit. I want to go into my file, into my bin folder, into my debug folder, and this is where I've got my input phones text file sitting. I'll open that up. The same one we've been using. So input phones is sitting there. We're going to create an output phones that's going to be in here as well when we're all done with this thing. So we're going to see that next. So I'll blow this away. We don't need to see this anymore. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to run the program once. The file save, our file, I'll just do a file save all. I'll just do a run now. Start. Program comes up. And we'll hit process. Bang. File has been written. Okay, let's close it. Close our program. And let's look at this. If we look at our folder now, we can see that our input and our output phones are there. Let's take a look at the output phones. There they are. They're all formatted. So very easily to do. We just simply bypass everything else. So it just happens. It just does the job. No one cares how it's done in the process. The thing I do want to show you is what I can do with this is we can actually go in and it'll rewrite the file. I'm going to go ahead and go into my filtered digits routine. Let's go into the read file routine. And let's go into all these. I'll put a breakpoint in each one of these things. And we'll do a file save. And I'll start. And we'll hit process. As soon as we hit process, the read file button starts here. And I'm going to hit F11. It's going to jump down to the read file routine. And here we're going to start reading our stuff. And I can take string list record and I can go ahead and add it to my watch list, which I'm doing right here. As we go through here, we can see that the first number is brought in. The second number is brought in. The third, and so on down the line. So I'm going to hit F5 to continue through this process. That gets us through the read file. Now we're into filter digits. So I'll hit F11 on that. It jumps to the filter digits routine. And I've got a number of things here. I've got a temp file, which I'll put a watch on. I've got a filtered phone, which I'll put a watch on. And my phone length, I'll put a watch on this. And I will hit F11. We go through and we create these things. We have nulls in the temp phone, filtered phone, and phone length. We're going to go through the loop. In fact, I could probably put a watch on I real quickly, so we can see what record we're on. We're at record 0 right now. We'll go through this. Temp phone gets the whole phone, comes in 206 dash. We end up with our length of 12 digits long. We go through this thing and we start looking at the characters. And if the filter phone then, which I don't have on here, I'm going to go ahead and add a watch to that. We can watch it build. There's a 2, comes through, it bypasses there's a 6, grabs a 6, then I'll bypass a dash, go right to a 7. There it goes. And it starts building this thing, dropping any characters that are not digits. Hit F5 to continue on this thing. It goes through. We're now hitting at the format output routine. I can hit F11 to jump to that thing since we're debugging it. We've got a format phone. Here's the same one. String format phone. Don't know. Let's just go ahead and add it anyway. Well, good. Because it's in a different module. So I had to watch this, and there's format phone. It's null. It's null. Yeah. So it's down here, and we'll do our int count. Do an add watch here, and now we've got int count of 0. We're going to go through this. We have 6 for our int count. So we're going to be reading 6 records, and we have null in the format phone. So it's going to take string format phone, and it's going to grab the record. There it is. Now it's going to insert the dash. There's the dash. It's going to format the parentheses, and now it's going to format the other parentheses. Then it's going to insert and output and go to the next record, which is a 1. And it'll do the same thing. It's going to clear out the filtered phone, bring that new one in, put the dash in, put the back parentheses and the space, and then put the forward in, and go through that. And again, go to the next record too. So continue. I'll do F5 to continue on through this thing. It goes through there. And finally, we're going to the save file routine, which is down here. We'll jump down there. All we're going to do is be reading the output file and going through this and actually creating the file. We'll go through that loop, and it's going to write the records. As we go through, you can just see it kind of processing through this thing. I'll hit F5 on this, and that ends the program. File's been written, process is done, okay. I didn't create an exit button, mainly because this is probably a module inside another program, so we'll just hit the X to end this thing. But we can look back at our code, at our text file. Did I lose my folder? Yeah, it looks like I did. Let's go ahead and text processing, phone number module, sandbox, it's right in here. Go into our bin folder, our debug folder. There's our input phone, and here's our output phone. So these two things are sitting there, identical to the other ones we saw before. That's it. That's all it takes to create a module. Really nice to have a prototype when you start working with something like this first to get it to do what you wanted to do in step-by-step process. But then when we're all done, you streamline it and write a nice application that looks more like this. Nothing to it. Just hit the process, done. That's it. We'll need to learn structures in the near future, and then classes. When we get to classes, we'll turn this module we just did into a class that can be used in dozens of programs that need to format the phone number. But this concept of creating a prototype first and then creating a functions module is something you can use in a variety of different applications. Thanks for watching. Visit the website when you get a chance, and please subscribe to the channel. There's more stuff coming every week. We'll see you next video. Take care.